project 2 from level 1 of the path, effective coaching. Before I introduce Toastmaster Rishi, I would like his evaluator, Toastmaster Ayush, to read out the objectives of the speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster of the day. So the speaker is delivering his level 1 and project 2. And the purpose of the speech are as follows. The purpose of this project is for the member to present a speech on any topic, receive feedback, and apply the feedback to a second speech. And second, the purpose of this speech is for the member to present a speech and receive feedback from the evaluator. The time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. Best wishes to the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ayush. When I was speaking to Toastmaster Rishi to learn about what was something that he started recently, and he told me that he had recently learned the basics of the art of storytelling as a concept. And now that he's back on his journey as a Toastmaster, renewing it from the previous efforts in 2016 and 17, he wishes to apply this art into his speeches and see where how it's helped him improve his delivery of the speeches. Without further ado, calling upon Toastmaster Rishi with his speech, Let It Go. Let It Go by Toastmaster Rishi.
Thank you, Toastmaster Achyut. As a child, we play, we fight, and we forget. And the ego doesn't exist further. However, as an adult, we fight, and the ego we carry it for the rest of our lives. Narayan Murthy once said that India is the ego hub, where he has worked with so many governments, but things have somehow not moved further because of that one reason, I know it all attitude. Because of that small 3-letter word, ego, we hamper a big 12-letter word called relationship, don't we? I am the best, and the world around me runs the way I want. Suppose you are a mentor or a role model to someone and you don't give them choices. It is very likely that your ego is going to hamper the relationship with them. I would like to take an example from Ramayana. Why was Ravan guilty of the massacre caused to his kingdom? It was because of his evil over good. Most of his soldiers, beg your pardon, his wife, his own brother Vibhishan was against his principle, had lost respect towards him only because of one Ravan's principle, I am the best. Is that not ego? Suppose you are an elder brother and you are coming back from vacation and getting gifts for your siblings. How often do you find the ego of superiority comes into the picture? How often do you find they get into the Cold War? Isn't that ego? How often do you find in a corporate world the manager taking advice from his subordinate and implementing in his project and doing it successfully? Even there, ego takes the place. Well, as a teenager, I had that adult modernity ego where I refused to take the advice from my parents and teachers. I had that attitude of I know it all during my studies. If I landed up in a bad company, I would refuse to stay away from them. If I should say, if I have to watch a particular television show, it has to happen then and now. That is ego, my friends. Let me talk about Indian weddings, big fat Indian weddings. How does it happen? You have that pre-wedding marriage shoot, you have that engagements, and of course the wedding day, the lavish multi-cuisine food counters, the costliest lehengas and the sherwanis, and the superfluous orchestra. And yes, how can I forget the honeymoon? Oh, you went to Bali? Yes, that's the most happening place. Awesome. Oh, you went to New Zealand? Yes, but that must be expensive. Oh no, that only costed me 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs. 5 lakhs. Okay. Isn't that most of us doing for our social status, or should I say social ego? Three idiots. My daughter will become a doctor, or my son will become an engineer. It is a matter, because for our parents, it's a matter of their prestige, and they will decide our future, and which even carries on until they choose our life partner. However, is evil, however, is ego always bad? Can I get some reactions in the chat box with a yes or no? Is evil, quickly, can I get a reaction in the chat box with a yes or no? Is evil, is ego always bad? Come on, I'm waiting for more responses. Okay, so I've got mixed responses. Let me give my viewpoint. See, if you are a commanding leader and not a demanding leader, and you have got those right decision making skills, then you have that then right amount of ego suits your personality. It doesn't mean you're an ego driven person. It means you have that right attitude towards your work. Ego makes you feel proud of what you have, what you love, and what you do. I would like to take an example. We all know what happened in South Africa when Mahatma Gandhi was thrown out of the train because of his color. It hurted his ego. It was then he decided freedom from his freedom from British, his objective in life. And then coming back from there, he launched campaigns after campaigns, movements after movements, and then and made non-violence a freedom slogan. And it was in 1947 he terminated the existence of British from our country. So if you can use ego in the interest of public at large, some amount of ego is very good for you. So my reference, ego to an extent is good. As I move on, my dear friends, ego is something which is not born. No one is born with ego, as I said. We should always have those three magical sentences in our lives. I love you, I miss you, and I can't stay without you. We should understand that ego is within us. It's an environmental factor. No one is we are influenced with this. I have got the most ego possibly in the whole world. Most of us all have got ego. The purpose is how purposefully we take feedback and implement and make changes in our lives, whether it is elder or younger. So here it is where we skip the E and let it go. That is, skip the E and let it go. And hence, let me go. Over to you, Toastmasters of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rishi. Can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Rishi? As Mridula had shared, we can do that with the reactions below. Thank you, Toastmaster Rishi, for showing us that irrespective of our height or weight in physical senses, irrespective of our size, our ego is what can help us determine our place rightly in the world. And maybe if we do not estimate the size of our ego correctly, can also lead to our downfall. With this, moving on to the next speaker, someone who's practiced again in his attempt to hone the craft of speaking. This Toastmaster comes from a commerce background, perhaps an unforeseen outcome of our education system. But he did not let that deter him from learning something which was not prescribed in his syllabus or his field. He learned the language of Python, and he learned how to code, and is also now practicing this to be able to learn the concept and apply it in different applications. Before I call upon the speaker, let me call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Shreya, to read out the objectives of the speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster HU. The purpose of this project is for the member to learn or review basic research methods and present a well-organized, well-researched speech on any topic. All the best, Toastmaster Sumit. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shreya. Toastmaster Sumit is delivering his project 3 of level 1 from the path leadership development. Toastmaster Sumit is here with this speech. Sorry, just a second. Hi. So, Toastmaster Sumit is delivering his project 3 speech titled by Toastmaster Sumit. Best of luck to you.
Okay, so before I start, I just need to share my screen. Wait a minute. Yeah, I am ready. So should I start? Yeah. So it has been rightly said that the superheroes are made by the path they chose rather than the powers they possess. Good evening, everyone. We all love superheroes, don't we? So today, I am going to tell you about some of my greatest superheroes who made my childhood awesome, and I'm sure yours too. Yes, I am talking about Marvel. It all started way back in 1939 when a pulp magazine publisher tried to explore the upcoming trends of comic book market. That man was none other than Martin Goodman. He started his own company named Timely Publications and held titles like managing editor, writer, and his brother officially listed as publisher. He started to write comics books on his own. And within a month, Timely published the first ever comic book, which is known as Marvel Comics issue October 1939. You can say this is the first ever Marvel comic in the history. This introduced the first ever superheroes, what we called as the Human Torch, Namor the Submariner, and the other superheroes. This became so popular that another edition in the next month sold combinedly near 9 lakh copies. With such huge success, Timely had its own staff in place within an year. So the company first two artists and writer, Jack Kirby and Joe Simon, combined together in 1941 to form the first ever patriotically themed character, which we all love today. And that is my favorite, especially Captain America, issue 1941 March. This became so popular that even during the World War II, it sold near a million copies. Everyone just loved the fact of Steve Rogers getting converted into a super soldier and fighting the villains of World War II. But something also happened in 1941. Whenever we talk about Marvel, there is one man that always comes to our mind, and that man is none other than Stan Lee. Stanley Lieber. Initially, he joined Timely as an office assistant, but in 1941, due to war, an editor left. So the Goodman promoted Stanley Lieber as interim editor. So Stanley Lieber has to write under anonymously name of Stan Lee initially. But who knew at that time that this man will hold that place for decades and will change the future of Marvel and will bring revolution to it. Speaking of revolution, there is one idea of Stan Lee that truly brought revolution in the comics book segment. And that revolution is brought in 1961 by this comic. Fantastic Four issue November 1961. This was the first ever comic book featuring a superhero team comprising of the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, Invisible Girl. This comic book laid the foundation of many other superhero teams that we love today, like the Avengers, X-Men, X-Force, and also inspired other publishers like DC Comics to form their own superhero team like the Justice League, etc. This became so popular that after the launch of this comic, Marvel's sales go skyrocketing. But everything was going great in 1970s and 1980s, but something happened in 1990s. In early 1990s, comic book markets crashed. That's because of large number of exclusive distributors. There are so many distributors in the market that they weren't able to generate sales. And Marvel saw a steep fall in their sales, and it became a concerning point. Marvel tried many things. It had to sold character film rights of many of its popular characters like Spider-Man, X-Men, etc. But all in vain. As we can see from this graph, how after the issue of Fantastic Four 1, how Marvel sales goes up, and there is ups and downs, but there is a consistency. But in early 1990s, sales just go down, and it keep on going down. And ultimately, Marvel had to file for bankruptcy under Chapter 11 in 1996. But we all know there is someone who saves our life, and so was for the Marvel. That was Toy Biz. Toy Biz bought Marvel in 1997 and ended its bankruptcy case by merging to it, and helped him to stabilize his position back in the comic book market. But since the comic book market was not responding, Marvel had to shift its focus. Along with comic books, Marvel tried to produce films. And in the early 2000, Marvel gained character film rights of many of its characters like the Iron Man, X-Men, Hulk, etc. Thanks to the Toy Biz. And ultimately in 2005, the first ever Marvel movie production began, which was launched in 2008, and that was Iron Man. This movie was a blockbuster thanks to the acting of Robert Downey Jr. and the producer Kevin Feige. This movie was so popular among children that in 2009, just within an year, Marvel was bought by Walt Disney Company, and from this point there was no turning back. Walt Disney helped the Marvel to gain character rights of many other characters and launched movies back to back, and eventually gave us a collaboration of superheroes in a single movie, what we call as Avengers in 2012, and created a first ever cinematic universe in the comic book history, which is loved by everyone, and what we call as Marvel Cinematic Universe. This universe has a movie called Avengers Endgame, which is the highest grossing movie ever. And with Phase 4 already been announced, we always hope that we will see some more blockbuster movies in the future. It's not just the movies that make Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the story, that each movie has some point of story related to comic books. That was make us feel attracted to the cinemas or whatever you say in the movies. I am a true MCU fan, and I love watching movies, MCU movie. If this is not if today was not lockdown, we would be watching Black Widow today. That's all. And what we love Marvel is not just the characters, but the superheroes they bring on the screen, which that we always wanted to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sumit, for sharing with us the detailed and elaborate history of the company Marvel, its humble beginning, and how its arduous journey to what has helped us, what has helped get so many attractive movies to the screens around us. With that, coming to our third speaker for today for the prepared speech session. This gentleman is someone who I've known since my early days of Toastmasters from 2016. While I dropped out of the journey after getting started, he is someone who endured through, continued, and has explored various facets of himself as he has explored various facets of public speaking. He is currently, when I asked him, Shaurya, you've started so many new things, but what is one obstacle that comes to your mind and how do you overcome it when you start something? He said that obstacles are pretty much going to be there in anything you start. The key of overcoming them is persisting through them. Also, ignoring what others tell you. He is someone who I've seen practice what he's preached, and this speech which he's delivering today is yet another example of the outcome of his practice and persistence. Before we move to Shaurya, I would like to call upon his evaluator, Toastmaster Siddharth, to read out the objectives of the project.
Thank you, Toastmaster Achyut. Our next speaker is giving his speech, Negotiate the Best Outcome. And the purpose of this speech, the purpose of this project is for the member to learn about different types of negotiations and strategies that can be used when negotiating. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of a past or a future negotiation in his or her life. The time limit, please note, is 5 to 7. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Siddharth. Next up, we have Toastmaster Shaurya delivering the first project from level 3 of the path, Dynamic Leadership. Toastmaster Shaurya with the speech, Negotiation of a Lifetime. Negotiation of a Lifetime by Toastmaster Shaurya.
The date was 23rd March 2020. The day was a Sunday and the time was 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I just had my healthy lunch and I was just gearing up for a nice little nap. And it was then when I found out that train service all over India was going to be suspended from 10 p.m. that day only. It was as if I was standing in a large clock shop and all the alarms of all the clocks went off at the very same time. Good evening to the Toastmasters and distinguished guests, if any. My workplace is situated 60 kilometers away from my home, and hence I am heavily reliant on the local train service. So when I found out that the local train service of Kolkata was not going to be there from the next day, I freaked out. I had to reach out to my boss. Now, my boss is a very weird man. There are days when you discuss something important with him, only for him to completely deny having that discussion altogether after 2 days. It was annoying and it made you start an important work all over again and again and again. So I had to make sure that I had his attention. So I called him up, I sent him personal text in his WhatsApp, and on the other hand, I also sent an update on the official WhatsApp group of my workplace. And eventually, throughout that evening, through different kinds of negotiation discussions, it was decided that our boss was going to hire a car so that we can go to our office. And since we were a group of 8 healthy adults, I expected the car to be an Innova or a Scorpio. But the next morning, the car turned out to be one of those cars which you see being used for kidnapping a small kid in a typical Hindi or Bengali serial. There was no provision for seating arrangement, for air conditioning, or for music. And moreover, with the COVID-19 pandemic lurking around, we wanted to follow some social distancing inside the car, but that was not possible. And we were supposed to travel to and fro in that car for 4 hours every day. And with a deep sigh, all of us realized that the negotiation was not yet over. We were pushing for maximum comfort, and our boss was pushing for effective cost control. So throughout the Monday morning, there were negotiations and heated debates. And in the end, it was decided that our boss was going to change the car. So the next morning, the kidnapping van was replaced by a Honda Ertiga. It was something which ensured the provisions of air conditioning and proper music. But sitting comfort was not yet there because the Ertiga was built for a maximum of 7 people, including the driver. And we were a group of 8 people, excluding the driver. So what followed was adjustment through extreme prejudice. While our boss would sit pretty in the front, we would somehow squeeze ourselves in the back. And eventually, all of us continued our negotiations for a bigger car. Because every day it felt like we were replaying a scene from the movie Bhagam Bhag, where there are 22 people inside a single cab, if you guys remember. But then, while we were continuing the negotiation, we forgot that our boss is the paragon of weirdness. Each and every day, he would agree to whatever demands we made. And then the next morning, it would be the same car waiting for us. And then we would restart the same round of negotiation only for him to again agree to whatever demands we made. And this cycle repeated itself for 4 or 5 times. Eventually, we would start taking digs at him. He would listen everything, he would understand everything, and yet he would do absolutely nothing. And once we even manipulated him to join us in the back. But such was his dedication, determination, that he sat silently for 2 hours amidst all the discomfort without uttering a single word. And eventually, all of us were starting to give up when, by God's grace, something amazing happened. Our boss took a leave from the office. And it was precisely on that day when we were stopped from by the local inspector, regretting why we were being squeezed inside the car. And after he threatened us for 10 long minutes regarding how we can be put in jail for this, we forced our boss to call the inspector up. Now, until this day, I don't know what happened between the inspector and the boss, but at 9:23 p.m. that evening, our boss hired a second car for us. And since that day, life for me has taken a positive turn. As I delivered this speech on 8 May 2020, it has been 45 days since I have been taking daily road trips to my office and back. We enjoy good music, we enjoy the gentle breeze, and sometimes we get to enjoy stunning sunsets while returning on our way back home. Of course, we know that the outside world is suffering from COVID-19, and of course, we know that we might just as well get affected. And once affected, we might just get cured or we might even die. But just in case we die, we would be proud to state that before our death, before our untimely demise, we won our last ever negotiation, which helped us to enjoy our last moments to the fullest. And of course, our boss still continues to be weird in his own unique ways. And now that he actually succumbed to peer pressure, we take even more digs at him. And we will continue to do so forever and ever and ever. Over to you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shaurya, for that rather light-hearted elucidation of what perhaps was an arduous struggle, I'm sure, of your negotiation of a lifetime. With that, we have seen what fruits can the effort of practice bear. And here, next up, and this is where we move on to the next part of our Toastmasters meeting. Can anyone please give me a signal to show that I'm still connected? My application seems to have hung.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Anil. Right. Okay, so yeah, back to our meeting and the second part of it. After having started to exercise successfully and finding out there was ample time left in the day during the lockdown, even after I'd finished exercising, I knew that I had to put my days to better use. And then I thought of taming the second pull. And I picked up a very difficult task, which for me, which was reading. Because I had absolutely read 2.5 books in the last 8 years, apart from academic reasons. I mean, even if you add the academia reasons, the number wouldn't increase significantly. But the idea was that this was not easy. And I was determined to make a change. So I leaned on to a gentleman named Naval Ravikant, whom I regard as a thought leader. And he had said, read what you love until you love to read. Now, he is a paragon of productivity and churning out thoughts and concepts based on what he absorbs and reads. But I wasn't so sure why I struggled in the past 8 years in my endeavors to do so. And on further introspection, I realized that I was maybe forcing myself to read a particular genre of books because I thought that the other books were not worth their weight in paper. And this is something which I have tried to change in the last 2.5 weeks, where I pick up anything and everything randomly and just try to put myself to reading through it for 20 minutes without budging. And this is something which I think is starting to become better. Like it's showing some results, because I can now read without distractions for about 30 minutes, and this can be pretty much anything. And this is something which exploring different facets of reading has made me realize that it maybe can work. I just have to endure through it. And this idea of exploration is something which is also akin to our second part of a Toastmasters meeting, which is the table topic session. You have to try to show up, be frequent, and eventually you'll develop a level of comfort and proficiency for it. Helping us test our ability to show up and speak on stage unprepared is our table topics master. Now, he is someone who has also taken upon a task of getting started with regular practices. He's a computer science student, but he's determined to make sure that he's not just remains a student, but becomes an actual developer or coder. And he's putting he's burning the keys off his keyboard by practicing regularly, staying up to the time which he once said he's going to sleep at. So we have Toastmaster Anirban, the one who practices for 5 hours every night, who's going to challenge us with our ability to show up on stage and speak. Toastmaster Anirban, please take over the table topic session.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Achyut, for such a wonderful introduction. And guys, my fingers are still intact. Don't worry, it hasn't burnt. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the most fun and interesting part of a Toastmasters meeting, the table topic section. Fun, interesting because you have no idea what you're going to speak about. Fun because you have no idea what you're going to speak about. And as Toastmaster Achyut has explained throughout the entire meeting, that getting started is the most important part of a journey. So if you are someone who's scared of table topics, or if you are even someone who haven't been in table topics before, so I highly recommend that today is the day you take part in table topics. Because believe me when I say, if you keep telling yourself next week I'll take part, next week will never come. The rules of table topics are simple. Timing is 1 to 2 minutes with grace period of 30 seconds on only the upper side. So to be eligible for voting, you're going to have to speak at least for 1 minute. I'll repeat the topic twice, so please pay close attention to that. And Toastmasters are not allowed to change the topic, but guests are allowed to do so once. Now, can I have first set of volunteers, please? Please turn on your videos, and Toastmaster Rupesh, please unmute yourself.
Hi.
Toastmaster Rupesh, your only limit is your mind. Your only limit is your mind, Toastmaster Rupesh.
Hi, good evening, fellow Toastmaster and would-be Toastmasters in this online Toastmaster session. Yes, I fully agree. Your mind is only the limit. Even I can recall immediately the speech of Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was practicing with one of the famous boxers, and he was surprised how he becomes too strong and how he achieved his goal. He told he was making crunches, okay? And he told, how you do that? Well, I start counting when it start paining. Limit is in your mind. Whenever you do things, if you think, okay, today I need to run for 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers. Even the weather is good, fantastic. But after 3 kilometers, your mind will say, okay, stop it. Because you planned something. Most of the people here might recall, a lot of people need alarm in the morning to wake up. But after some time, without alarm, because you think in the night, I'll wake up at 5 o'clock, automatically you will wake up at once. And after that, you will decide you will leave the bed or you will go out. It is a paragon thinking, I'll say. It's a paragon beauty of your mind, which controls you. But the thing is how you are into it, how you are going to control, how you are going to convince yourself, how you define yourself to achieve your target. Till the time you're able to convince your mind, you will achieve your goal. That's it. Thanks a lot.
Can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmaster Dr. Rupesh Singh? Thank you, sir. It was a really nice take on the topic, and really, we are who we believe we are, right? You know, there's a story that before 1954, running a mile under 4 minutes was a myth. But once someone did it, tens and thousands of people had done it till date because people started believing that they can do it. They somehow overcame their limitation. So it's all in here. Remember that, people. Now, can we have the second volunteer for table topics? Okay, that was quick. Toastmaster Rahul, can you please unmute
Yes,
yourself?
table. I have.
Great. Okay. Toastmaster Rahul, big things often have small beginnings. Big things often have small beginnings. Toastmaster Rahul.
When you're on road to become one of the best that you want to be, there are many things that you have to consider. The constraints, the hurdles, the barriers that are everything that are going to pull you down. But you have to realize that there are these small efforts, these small solutions to these small problems that you have to find that takes you to the other level, that takes you at the level you want to be. Just take Amazon. Jeff Bezos has started the company Amazon at the garage of his house. At the garage of his house. Can you imagine? His first step towards something he believed in started from a garage, which is as small as my room. But do you know how big a company that is? I'm sure no one is going to raise a question there. So whenever you think that you've taken a step, that is one step closer towards your goal. That is not one small step. That takes you one step closer to what you want to achieve. And that takes you one step closer to what you ever want to be. Amazon took one step in that garage. What is that one step that you're going to take? That is going to take you at your dreams. Back to you, Table Topic Master.
It was a nice take indeed on the topic, and as Toastmaster Rahul said, you know, Amazon or be it Google, it all had small beginnings. It started in garages or basements, or even things like you know, Corona. It started because someone in China decided that bat soup is a great idea. So what I'm trying to say is that you never know when you're starting that how big of a thing it will turn out to be. So just start, no matter how small it is. Can I have the next volunteer, please? Toastmaster Shilpa. Please unmute yourself. Yes. Toastmaster Shilpa. One day at a time. One day at a time. Toastmaster Shilpa.
Good evening, everyone. I'm here after a long time. So basically, I'm taking this is like what I have decided for myself, that I am going to give my best to the Toastmaster this time, and I'm not going to quit in the middle. So basically, when I'm starting and I'm starting small, and I'm thinking that one day at a time, I would like to attend all the meetings and see how much I can mark myself and see how much meetings that I attend, and not give it up, because whenever I miss out on a meeting or something, it becomes very difficult to come back next day and restart everything. It takes us back. So one day at a time, we need to push ourselves and take ourselves forward instead of going back. So whatever we decide to do in life, we need to start small and keep pushing ourselves one day at a time, and so that ultimately we reach our goal and we achieve the target that we have dreamed for, or we have thought of achieving it. So basically, we start small and achieve our goal by taking a step at a time and doing and taking one day at a time, and not going big. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shilpa, and it is really great to have you back after such a long time. And I would really request if you could look at the phone, look at the camera when you're speaking. We all understand it's a little difficult, you know, it's really difficult from physical meetings, but if you could, I think you also missed the timer once. So if you just could look at your screen. Okay, can I have the next volunteer, please? Are there any guests who would like to try? I'm seeing a lot of new names. Sumiran or Jyoti Prakash, anyone? Muzaffar. Is there any guests who would like to try? Okay, then Toastmasters, can I have the next volunteer? Come on, I see a lot of faces, no hands. Toastmaster Siddharth. Toastmaster Rahul, you have spoken once. Toastmaster Siddharth, can you please unmute yourself? Yeah. Thank you. Toastmaster Siddharth. No pressure, no diamonds. No pressure, no diamonds, Toastmaster Siddharth?
Thank you Table Topics Master Anirban. No pressure, no diamonds. Well, everyone understands that diamonds are created because it undergoes a lot of extreme pressure. So similarly, it is true for all of us that even if we want anything or if we want to shine bright like a diamond, we need to undergo and face a lot of pressure. For example, during the lockdown, and I've shared this story with few of us, I decided to work out a lot of lot of us, and I was lucky to be with some people in my building who are like professional athletes, and then I started working out with them. And I'm not the guy like who works out regularly on each day of the week, but during this lockdown period, I've not even missed a single day of workout because of this guy, my friend Keshav, who is just 18 years old. So and he asked me to come. He comes to my house every evening at around 4:30 in the evening, and we go to our terrace and we work out. And during this period, and in the first week I vomited twice because he was asking me to do certain activities and push-ups and everything, and it was like very difficult and very challenging. And every night when I was going to bed, and I was thinking that next day when Keshav will come to my house, I will just say that I do not want to work out. It was creating a lot of mental pressure on me, not because of the work, because it wasn't happening anyways, but because of the workout which I was supposed to be doing with him. Because that feeling of vomiting every time going to the terrace and all was not very conducive for me. Still, I persisted, and in last week, in one of the workout sessions, I did 200 push-ups in a 45-minute session, which I personally found myself that it was not possible for me at all. But still, because of his continuous guidance and doing workout every single day, going to that pressure every single day of the week helped me build that stamina and that strength, because of which I was able to do 200 push-ups. I'm like kind of amazed that I was able to do that. But I'm feeling much better all day long. I sleep better. I wake up at around 6:30, unlike our Toastmaster Rupesh, who wakes up at 5 o'clock. But it gives me a lot of strength, and I feel more energetic. So all these things which you want to achieve in your life, if you just to take the little bit of pressure on a daily basis, that is the most important. On a daily basis, you will always shine bright like a diamond. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. We will all shine bright like a diamond if we can at least withstood the pressure. You know, diamonds are just pieces of carbons put under extreme pressure. Without that pressure, they would just be carbons, valueless. But because they withstood that pressure, they are in millions. Okay. The last speaker of table topics is prefixed. Sorry for that. So we're going to have one more table topic before that. Can I have a volunteer? Come on, I see so many faces, but no hands. Raise your hands, people. Anyone? Or I'll pick up. Okay, Toastmaster Komal. It's been long since I've seen him in table topics. Are you there? Yes, you are there. Can you please unmute yourself?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Toastmaster Komal. Success is a series of small winnings. Success is a series of small winnings. Toastmaster Komal.
Good evening, everyone. I believe that the small steps that we take to doing something that we really want to do is what matters the most. They say that it's the journey that matters and not the destination. So similarly, like a ladder, there are many steps. And instead of just thinking of reaching the top, if we take one step at a time and proceed diligently and work towards it, I feel like the fruit of it will be better, as it's the feeling of accomplishing small things that matter the most than achieving the big thing at once. So and success in doing like success is very subjective to everybody. It can be anything, like if you have to learn how to cook and you are a novice and you do not know how to cook, so taking small steps towards it, watching videos and getting your hand cut or even a small burn is going to happen in the process of learning how to cook. And I guess, but once you are finally able to make that one dish after a lot of effort that you've put in, I feel like you feel a lot better. And that is why I feel that success is like you get after taking certain steps. Thank you.
Yes, Toastmaster Komal, indeed, we all feel better after cooking that first dish ourselves. Just like that, I'm sure you will be feeling pretty accomplished by speaking to Table Topics today in such wonderful way.
I indeed did really like.
Yes, so please keep up this, keep this up, keep coming back to Table Topics again and again and again. And really, ladies and gentlemen, succeeding in life is like winning a war. You know, in war, you don't focus on winning the entire war. You just focus on winning those small battles each and every single day. So just focus on those battles and you would be eventually winning the war before you know it. And now for the last table topic, as I said, yes, it is the time for our Area K4 Table Topics champion who have the Table Topics Division K Table Topics contest tomorrow. It's time for Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra. Can you please unmute yourself? Yes.
Thank you, everyone.
Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra. Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. Wherever life plants you, bloom with grace. Toastmaster Vishesh Mehra.
Ladies and gentlemen, life is a cruel thing. It is something which will hit you hard. It is something which is very, very unfair. And you will work very hard. You will work towards your goal. But at the end, you will see you are not achieving that goal. But ladies and gentlemen, you shouldn't put your head down in discomfort and lose all hope. But you should put your head up and take one step forward. Something very similar happened to me when I was in class 12. I was one of the most brightest students, very well disciplined. I played 2 sports for my school. I was the troop leader for scouts. And I wanted one coveted title, the title of a, well, prefect, which I did not get just because someone with some influence in the alumni got that title rather than me. Well, I was heartbroken. I was down. But I did not give up because being a prefect was not what life planned for me. I took a step forward. I worked very, very hard. And I started studying each and every day, putting my heart and soul into my studies and my scouting activities. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to say I was the IESC school topper for my school. I got 97% in my IESC. And then I even won the Reverend Cannon Best Scout Award. So I was the only student with 2 names on the Hall of Fame in my school. And it was a huge moment of pride for me. When life planted me there as a school topper, as the best scout, and I gave my best effort to bloom there and not be sad or demotivated for not becoming a prefect. What do you say, Table Topics Master?
I say congratulations and all the best for tomorrow. And everyone, I would like you to also say him all the best. Wish him all the best. So if you want, you can. With that, today we are ending our table topic session. It was a great session. And before leaving, I would just like to remind you all that people who didn't raise their hands today, procrastination won't get you anywhere. So you have to take that first step if you want to complete the journey of becoming a perfect, or should I say, to become a table topic speaker like Toastmaster Vishesh, right? So if you even ask yourself, is there any way to overcome your fear without even facing it? No, there isn't. So come play, come take a part in table topics, and you will eventually be a good or great table topic speaker. Over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Table Topic Master Anirban, for weaving together such a wonderful collection of table topic speeches, which range from different ideas of how to do better, getting started, self-improvement and whatnot. A great theme or a great occurrence of today's table topic speeches were that a lot of the examples were from the lives of the speakers themselves, which makes it easier for us to understand and also draw inspiration from. That It is all about getting started, showing up, conquering your fears, and whatnot. With the conclusion of a very elaborate and full of learning second session, we are going to transition to the third session of our Toastmasters meeting. Something to lead you there, right? There was, in the period of the lockdown, after being able to exercise and still exploring reading and what it means to me, I thought I should take up another activity. And since after my school days, I've been living at home, which means I don't have to deal with the scary but essential chore of cooking. This lockdown, I thought, let me give it a try, right? Because I have my sister who's 4 years younger to me, but she stays away from home right now. She's studying in Bangalore. So every time we have a argument about who can do more things or who can help out at home, or generally try to pick faults with each other, she always sort of trumps it by saying, hey, I can cook so many things. And both of us being foodies, I have to wave the white flag saying, okay, here you go. So this was my attempt to not just learn to cook to defeat her, but also pick up what I believe is an essential life skill. Now, I have taste buds that barely understand anything if it's wrong. If it tastes well, I appreciate it and my mouth starts watering. Now, despite that, I think I might be biased to believing that my own, the dishes which I cook sort of taste all right. But I knew that after spending 2 or so weeks trying to cook dinner, where rotis were every other shape except what I've eaten them all my life, that is round. The color of the sabji was not what it was supposed to be, so much so that my grandmother had to ask me, was this sabji or did I forget to cook it? So after all of this, I turned to my mom to ask her for feedback. I actually learned a few interesting things. Rotis have a right side and a wrong side. The order in which you put your spices can actually affect the taste. And there is a very, very fine line between just right, well done, and burnt, inedible. And this tipping point is something which I've struggled to explore, and I think I'm managing to do it a little bit now. But I am just getting started with cooking, right? And the crucial element of feedback is what has helped me get better and in the process make food that is edible for people apart from me. Now, simultaneously, similarly, our final session of a Toastmasters meeting is something which helps us learn from our efforts of speaking, trying to come up on stage, face the fear, and see if we prepared well enough or not. With this, I would like to introduce the general evaluator who is going to lead us through the session. Now, she is someone who I personally admire her work ethic, and in conversation with her to find out what she had been getting started to, I realized she has successfully done everything I actually wanted to, which means she's cooked a plethora of new dishes. She's learned to cook on almost a new cuisine. She's also working out regularly. She's recently started her Toastmasters session and is being more actively involved in the meetings. And she's also started meditating. So with no further ado, I would like to call on Toastmaster Vandana to lead us through the general evaluation session and see how we can improve in what we've gotten started with.
Thank you, Achyut, for that lovely introduction. I was missing that introduction when you introduced me initially. So thank you for coming up for it now. Now coming back to the evaluations, the first speech was done by Toastmaster Rishi Pransuka and was evaluated by Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya. So Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya, could you speak out the evaluation?
Thank you, General Evaluator of the Day. Some speeches are over as soon as it is delivered, and some speeches leave an indelible mark in your heart. And this was one such speech. Good evening, everyone, and in particular to Mr. Rishi. I think the best part of your speech was that you grabbed the attention of the audience from the genesis of your speech by mentioning the eminent personality like Mr. Narayan Murthy. And you used your time judicially. You spoke for about 6 minutes, 51 seconds. That's fantastic. Your speech had a piece of a Himalaya mentioning about the story of Ramayana, the tranquility of a Rishi Muni, the Zen, and the message of a true Toastmaster. Rishi, today you were on replete with energy and confidence. You had the gumption to accept your ego problem without any qualms and dealing and scrupulous details dealing with your father, your brother, and everyone in your life. Giving relatable examples of Three Idiots of Mr. Legend Mahatma Gandhi. Your expression was fantastic, especially when you mentioned about the 5 lakhs rupees, just 5 lakh rupees. Oh, superb. And asking the audience, and there were numerous rewards from them. The salient part of your speech was the message, which you were recapitulating it every time. It was very much relatable to everyone in the audience. You had built a very good rapport with the audience and they were sinking in with your message and with your story. And Rishi, as your name means, the Zen, who has immense knowledge. But today I will become your Rishi and deliver or impart a little knowledge from my side, which will help you to make your speech greater from great. First, whenever you're speaking about the word attitude and ego, you have to express it vividly. When you said the ego in you, you have to say the ego in you. You have to show that it's a very strong emotion. Similarly, when you said the big fat Indian wedding, the big fat Indian wedding, you have to express how big the Indian weddings are. And the third one, when you said, I miss you, the 3 magical words, you have to say in a lower and a sadder tone to express it deeply. And a second point, I think you missed on the point mentioning how to deal with an ego problem or how to forego an ego. If you could have thrown light, it would be it would be the best speech. And the third, you need a little more practice. We could see that you tend to forget in between, but that's trivial because you're delivering just your second speech. So Rishi, if you implement this little improvement, then there will be increment in the compliment of you being a top-notch speaker. Just remove that E from the evaluation will be elevated. Thank you.
Wow. What can I say about Toastmaster Ayush Vaidya? I just loved your evaluation more than, I don't know what to say. Just remove that E and increase your evaluation. Amazing evaluation. Great job done there, Ayush. And now coming back to Toastmaster Rishi. Toastmaster Rishi, I loved your speech right from the beginning till the end. It had a lot of everything. Everything has been almost covered by Toastmaster Ayush. But I want to say certain things that your speech had everything. You had good body language, vocal varieties, beautiful opening, a good body of the speech, and a great conclusion. Just few things that Ayush Vaidya has already mentioned, that how to let go of your ego. So when you mentioned that those 3 magical sentences, I love you, I miss you, I can't live without you. So how these 3 sentences can actually help you to overcome your ego. That is something I really wanted to know. And then the way you've explained how there is ego in everything that is happening around. For example, watching the TV and then big fat wedding, honeymoon, social status, whether it's a social status or social ego. So everything was very beautifully done up. So I wish you could have added few sentences to how to get rid of ego. So that would have added more to your speech. Otherwise, I was totally hooked onto your speech. It was very beautifully written and very beautifully done up, spoken also, delivered. So now, all the best for your next speech and congratulations for delivering such a great speech. Now coming to the second speaker of the day, the second speaker was Toastmaster Sumit and his evaluator is Toastmaster Shreya. So Toastmaster Shreya, please do your evaluation.
Thank you, General Evaluator. A very good evening to all of you, and Toastmaster Sumit in particular. First of all, Sumit, I want to thank you for choosing this topic. For during those 7 minutes, I relived my childhood. I want to congratulate you for meeting the objectives of your project. The slide set picture, which all of us could relate to. There were an optimum number of slides with very little text, which made sure that our attention was not distracted from you. Kudos to you on that. Not only did it invoke the child within us, we also came to know about the birth of Marvel Comics, its downfall, and how it turned around. Thanks for the information. You were confident and your hand gestures were in sync with your words. Your speech, in short, was marvelous. And to make it even more impactful, you can try incorporating vocal variety. The way you spoke about the rise was the same when you spoke about the fall. You could have added pauses, varied the volume and pitch to bring about the related emotions. Comics always bring a smile to a face. You could have included an incident or memory of your childhood that could have brought alive a similar memory of ours in our mind. That way, we could have related more to your speech. Also, though my childhood emotions were invoked, I failed to get my what's in it for me. You could have incorporated a message like how they didn't lose hope, in spite the downfall, and where no clear direction was available, and how they reinvented themselves to become even more famous. That could have given us more hope in these trying times. Nevertheless, it was an amazing speech, and I'm sure all of us loved it. And we all know how we are going to spend the rest of our lockdown days. Fantastic folk, Captain America, here I come. Over to you, General Evaluator. Thank you.
A great evaluation done, Toastmaster Shreya. And now coming to Toastmaster Sumit, it was, I could never think somebody could give a speech on comics. And it was such a beautiful thing to hear and see. And how you took us through the story, the Marvel Comics, Martin Goodman, Captain America, 1942, 1941, 1990s, the fall of the Marvel Comics, and then coming Toy Biz and Iron Man. Then Marvel was bought by Walt Disney, Avengers, and now we're waiting for the Black Widow. It was beautifully, beautifully done up. And what I liked about your speech was that this is some topic I could have never thought giving a speech on. And I relived my childhood and everything. The moment you talked about the Toy Biz, I remember that movie. When you talked about Iron Man, I thought of Robert Downey Jr. And when you talked about Avengers, so all the movies and were just beautiful. Just one suggestion from my side. When you're giving speeches, you cannot put your shoulders like this on the table. See, if I talk to you like that, it becomes very casual. So it has to be straight. And then you have to talk. Even if you have to touch your laptop, you just have to do it with this thing. Because when your shoulders are like that, it doesn't give up. It's not a very formal thing. And when you're giving a speech, it has to be very formal. Otherwise, the speech was too good and I just loved it. And congratulations for giving such a beautiful speech. Now, let's move on to the third speaker of the day. His evaluation is done by Toastmaster Siddharth Churiwal. So Toastmaster Siddharth, please give your evaluation.
Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster Vandana, fellow Toastmaster guests, and Toastmaster Shaurya in particular. Shaurya, you were giving your project one from Dynamic Leadership, negotiation of a lifetime. Negotiation, as we all know, is a day-to-day activity because we are negotiating on a daily basis with our clients, with our vendors, with our husbands, with our wives, with our boyfriends, with our girlfriends, and in today's case, with your boss. And today I felt that you gave a very light-hearted and a wonderful speech full of witty quips and humor. I saw myself smiling all throughout your speech. You started with your speech with your lockdown story, which was announced on 23rd March 2020, and how it gave you a little bit of shock that your work and your home was about 60 kilometers and all the train services would be stopped, and that how you will go to the work. Herein I would like to mention that I know that you work in a bank, but not everybody knows or the guest knows that you work in a bank. Most of us will be wondering why do you even have to go to office, right? So perhaps just even a one line there that you need, that you work in a bank and that you have to go to an office because it's a part of an essential service, it would have been very good. However, the one thing which I really liked about your speech was the anecdote. And the most funny thing was about your disdain for your manager, which was very, very apparent and very funny to me. And then you came to the crux of your speech, which was about the negotiation between the effective cost control which your manager wanted versus the comfort which you and your other colleagues wanted. And I found all the description of the car going to your office journey for 4 hours, everything to be very, very lighthearted and funny. But the project is about learning different negotiation strategies like win-win, win-lose, and lose-lose. Of course, we do not want to talk about lose-lose, but this project, your speech was about win-lose. And not all the projects or speeches could be win-win. For example, if you could have a negotiation with price, that if you want something to buy for 70 rupees and the seller is wanting to give it 100 rupees, and if you get it for 80 rupees, then you are the one who is winning and the other person is losing. So not all speeches could be win-win. So even though you won the negotiation in the end, but however, I felt that the negotiation was not done by you and it was done by the police officer, which was not actually a negotiation. It was a directive that you could be put to jail if you do not listen to him. So there were certain strategies. The project is about strategies. The strategies which you could have used was to threaten your boss with the jail time because you would not be maintaining social distancing if 8 of you are going into a car. So that could be one strategy, is threatening the boss. The second one would be to say that you won't be coming to work along with your colleagues collectively. That way it will put mental pressure on the boss to get the work done and ensure that 2 cars or a bigger car is provided for you. So the challenging, this is a very, very challenging project, I understand, because I have mentored 3 of my mentees for the same project. However, the major learning of this project is not to deliver the speech, but to implement it in a daily life. Whenever you are running out of options and wondering about what options can I use, just use 2 words in your own mind. What else? What else I can do? And that will, these 2 questions which you ask yourself will give you a lot of options to find out about different strategies which you can use in a different situations. Otherwise, a great project, good job. Over to the general evaluator.